Hello everyone. You are listening to this audiobook on channel Voice of Purpose by NSS IT Bombay.
Hello, a very enthusiastic welcome to all of you to this brand new session. So, how are you? Hoping you and your family are safe. So, let us begin with today's session on personal finance. For me, it's one of my favorite topics to discuss. I'm very excited about this session. We'll start from the very basics of investments and soon develop a clear understanding of the topic. So let's begin. Let us assume a girl named Rose earns rupees 50,000 per month and she spends rupees 30,000 towards her cost of living, which includes housing, food, transport, shopping, medical, etc. The balance of rupees 20,000 is her monthly surplus kept as hard cash or in short held under the mattresses. You can ignore taxes for now. Her employer is also kind enough to give her a 10% salary hike every year. The cost of living is likely to go up by 8% year on year. So, if life goes along this way and she works hard for the next 20 years and then retires, she would have saved around 1.7 crore rupees. Can you imagine that? 1.7 crore rupees. Now that's relatively high. But, do you know, as the cost of living will go on at an 8% increment, which is for sure, all her savings will be just enough to handle her basic expenses for the next 8 years of her post-retirement life only. Only the next 8 years. And all this at the expense of suppressing her lifelong aspirations like a better home, better vacation plans, etc. Isn't this also cruel? Where did she go wrong? Actually, handling money has two aspects. One is saving, which she did, and other is investing. And investing is by far the best solution for managing money. So, what is investment? It's the method of putting money into financial schemes. What type of financial schemes? To understand that, let's say Rose goes to meet her friend Rounak, who is a financial expert. He gave her 4 central ideas for investment. Let's see what are they. The first one is FD, fixed deposit, where you put your money in banks. What banks do is they will take your money and will offer you interest of around 4 to 6% generally. It's also the safest investment mode, as you can be assured of your money in most cases. I know a question may be arising in your mind like, how do the banks earn? And you may be feeling that this will be the best option then. So, firstly, the banks make profit through the interest they charge on loans. Now, as unlikely as it may look to be, still for a developing country like India, we have inflation rates as high as around 5%. Which in general overtook the FD increment rates. But what is this inflation rate? You must have heard a term in Hindi, mehengai, which we refer to as inflation. Inflation is the rise in the price of goods and services with time. We can say it's the decrease in the value of goods and services by a particular amount of money over time. This inflation is so high that the spending power of, listen the statement carefully, the spending power of 5,000 in the 1980s is comparable to 1 lakh today. It means the prices have increased 20 times in the span of 40 years. Let's dive into the second one, that is the commodity investments. This comprises investments in gold, silver, and other essential commodities. Investments in gold and silver are considered one of the most popular investment avenues. Investments in these metals have yielded a return of approximately 8% over the last 20 years. The third one is real estate investments. This involves transacting, that is, buying and selling commercial and non-commercial lands. The transaction procedure can be quite complex, involving legal verification of documents. The cash outlay in real estate investments is usually quite large. Liquidity is another issue with real estate investment. You cannot buy or sell whenever you want. The fourth one is equity investments. Investment in equities involve buying shares of publicly listed companies. Stakes are traded on the BSE and the NSE and also on other exchanges. When an investor invests in equity, unlike a fixed income instrument, there is no capital guarantee. However, as a trade-off, the returns from equity investment can be extremely attractive. Indian equities have generated returns close to 14 to 15% CAGR, that is, compound annual growth rate, over the past 15 years. Investing in some of the best and well-run Indian companies has yielded over 20% CAGR in the long term. Identifying such investments requires skill, hard work, and patience. In general, investments optimally should have a potent mix of all asset classes. It is wise to diversify your investments among the various asset classes. The technique of allocating money across asset classes is termed asset allocation. For instance, a young professional may take a higher amount of risk given his age and years of investment available to him. Typically, investors should allocate around 70% of their investable amount in equity, 20% in precious metals, and the rest in fixed income investments. And at last, I would like to say one of the most precious lines of investment: risk and return go hand in hand. Higher the risk, the higher the return. Lower the risk, the lower is the return. Thanks.
So hope you guys had fun. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting audiobooks.